Good morning, everybody online. This is Blind Justice coming to you live on the streets of Aberdeen, Washington, sitting outside of City Hall. And it's day 64 of our peaceful protest, Resting is Not a Crime. Just wanted to give you guys a brief recap of last night's City Council meeting. And, relatively uneventful, nothing too crazy. Just typical level of crazy for Aberdeen. Alright, lost connection. I think we're back. They started off with a couple guest speakers. One was from the port, just giving an update on how they're doing. Their business is doing well. They're having record years for things. And then there's one speaker who is a public insurance adjuster. So basically, the council was looking at hiring potentially this individual or someone else to represent the city for the insurance claim on the Army fire. So then that insurance adjuster would work on behalf of the policyholder, which is the city, and would go do the negotiations with the insurance adjuster on behalf of the insurance company. So there was that at the beginning, and then they had let's see, I think from Public Works they had a report to have the mayor authorize a partnership with Washington State Department of Transportation for improving or fixing some of the signage in town along the highways, like Alder Street and things like that, where the signs either messed up, need fixing or altering or replacing, or aren't in compliance with ADA. Some of them are ones that we've submitted citizen action reports on, where they're not tall enough, and I run into them, and so they're sitting in the middle of the sidewalk, and they're about 5 feet off the ground, protruding off the pole. So they're a hazard, safety issue for pedestrians. So they approved that. What else? There was a finance report where they, in a second hearing of the charges for public records requests. So they found that they weren't in compliance with state law or state regulation on records request charges, and that's possibly because of the increased volume of records requests, which started about the time of the fire, when people were getting records requests about the fire, and we were submitting a lot of records requests with all the other stuff going on with the city. And they found that they have been overcharging people according to the regulation at the state level. So that's to come in compliance, to bring down the prices for the hard copies, and for the digital copies it actually increases the prices, which isn't a big deal if you only do a record request every once in a while. If you're doing them all the time, then it can get pricey. So they approved that. I spoke and recommended that they amend it so that it reflects for the electronic pricing what was on the books here in Aberdeen, which was there was no cost for emails and things. But nobody amended it. They kept it as is at the state maximum. And then Eric Larson said that, well, they have a report that they're working on to reflect what the actual cost is at the city to produce records, and that once they get that report to the council could then use that loophole to increase it over the state maximum and charge people more. So we'll address that if that comes up in future meetings. Other than that, that's basically it as far as the business that they did. They had some other stuff with appointing somebody to the seaport, and something else with like a building getting, they approved some stuff with the building getting some fixes. And yeah, it's a relatively uneventful, but I did public comment period ask about the First Amendment zones that they've been erecting, that are completely unconstitutional, completely violation of everybody's rights. And I pointed out some of the pieces of an email we sent last week, I think last Friday, for the council and the mayor regarding their policy and procedures for council meetings. That, according to their own municipal code, they're supposed to stand before getting recognized by the chair of the meeting, which is the mayor, and address the mayor, and then the mayor recognizes who has the floor. And that's not just in the AMC, it's in Robert's Rules of Order, it's in the MSRC talks about it, or MRSC, whatever the resource that they keep referring to, that talks about it. And it's just procedure for parliamentary procedure, but it also shows the equality with the people, because anytime somebody from the public makes public comment, they have to stand, and then they have to walk across the room to a microphone, so they have to stand to get the floor. And it's, even though it's in their policy for the council to do it every time they want to speak, they don't do it. They ignore their own policy, which is what we've been seeing throughout this whole thing. They have local codes, local policies, state codes, state policies, and they ignore them at their pleasure. They don't enforce them on themselves or on anyone in the local government. They want to just selectively enforce it upon members of the public, especially ones that are pointing out the biased nature of people here working at the city. So, anywho, that's a recap of what happened last night. I hope you guys have a lovely day. There's an event down the road here. What is this? I Street, I think. Across the road from the DNR Theater. It's a 98520.life open house from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So go check it out. They'll probably have little snacks and just meet and greet and talk about the paper that they produce there. So peace and love to you. Have a wonderful day, and Deo Presley Bear.